This is kind of weird, but it is what it is. Get it. My Gatorade here. How's that? Oh, wow. Okay, I'm here. So I have an attachment, and it's magnetized for my vent, and one side works, the other appears to work, but it will not hold up my phone. So I'm going to be on like a 2-hour drive, so I thought this would be a great time to do a short video on the aspects in the sky on Venus that's in Gemini now. So now it's Gemini's turn to be in the spotlight, not Taurus, but Gemini. The Sun is in Taurus, Mars is in take charge, very dynamic Aries. So there's a few things here, and if you're a Taurus, before, when, now the Sun's in Taurus, when Venus was in Taurus, that's when you kind of get to be in the spotlight. You get to be the belle of the ball, or the king of the ball. However, when Mars moved into Aries, that changes that dynamic. Now, why does it change that dynamic? It changes it because Mars is in the sign, basically if you're a Taurus or Taurus rising, it's sitting there in your 12th house, which is your house of hidden enemies. It may seem like things are working against you behind the scenes, and that may well be. And it's also a time where thoughts are kind of floating up from your subconscious. And sometimes these thoughts make you feel a little bit unsure of yourself or insecure. It just kind of makes you linger on things. It brings like a little maybe fear in there. Whoa, bad move, dude. There are people that come out of here. So, like as an astrologer, you see every tiny little thing. Once you're so tuned into like that action right there. I'm coming out of a hidden driveway, and this guy's coming off a main thoroughfare, and he starts to pull right in front of me, not knowing that there's a hidden driveway there. Now he didn't know, but that's a classic, example of what I'm talking about. So Mars doesn't go into Taurus until I think it's May 18. So now, all of that happy-go-lucky, you're in the spotlight when Sun was in Taurus and Venus was in Taurus. Now that is if you are a Taurus. All of that gets pushed to the back as soon as Mars moved into Aries. So I know that it's going to put you in the background. And your hidden enemies do come out. Even if you don't have any, suddenly you might have a few people in the background slightly conspiring against you. So now, let's talk about Gemini, because Venus went into Gemini. So if you are a Gemini sun, now is the time that you get to be in the spotlight, and you do appear more attractive to prospects. I don't care whether it's a job prospect, a dating prospect, an opportunity. It does make you appear more attractive than usual. So if you're a Gemini sun and you want to put your best foot forward, you've got a project to put on display, this would be a great time to do it. The big mover, we had Uranus go into Gemini today. Wow. And I know, I watched a few tarot readers here and there online. At least a week now, a lot of people saying, yes, we've had that change in the sky. Uranus has moved into Gemini. Well, no, we haven't. That's not true. You need an ephemeris to know exactly when that time and that minute happens exactly. So go to like alabe.com, ALABE.com, and that pulls up the current chart right there. And take a look at Uranus, and you'll see, I just looked at it before I took off. 00 degrees, 03 minutes, Gemini. So, and that's not 3 minutes of how we measure time here down on Earth, incidentally. So, now we we have things moving into really high speed after Uranus having been spent 7 years in Taurus, and, you know, breaking up the financial system, because Taurus is money. And if you are a Taurus, yeah, you might have had, you know, some bumps and unexpected moves and the rug pulled out from under you. You know, you're not really experiencing that so much in that whole 7 to 7.25 year passage, give or take. But you are, when it's within 2 degrees of your sun sign, that's when you're feeling all that shift and rocking and rolling and expect the unexpected and have the rug pulled out from under you kind of energy. So only if you're like 29 degrees Taurus, you know, so in other words, if your birthday is the last degree of Taurus, would you still be in that cycle? So now, coming out of an earth sign, which is very grounded, physically grounded, now going into a high-speed data processing Gemini. And it is comfortable there because it's an air sign. Uranus is ruled by Aquarius. So now we have Uranus functioning in another air sign, which is all about communication and high-speed data processing, computers, all of that. So now we're going to have definitely a more speeded up experience again, coming into more the computer, technology, AI with Uranus and Gemini. Mercury is a lower octave of Uranus. So Uranus in Aquarius is a very high octave. So Uranus is like a very high octave of Mercury. It's the universal energy. So I'm driving and talking, and we're about 9 minutes here. And so that's where we're at with Uranus and Gemini. And so those of you that are Gemini Sun in the very, very early degrees, you're going to feel a lot of nervous energy. I mean, those of you that have planets in Gemini, Sun or Mercury, Venus, you already are people that operate, you know, at a high speed. But now that Uranus, like if you're Gemini Sun at 1 degree, you're going to be really, really feeling this. And a lot of people that have planets in Gemini already have difficulty sleeping, you know. And I'm definitely one of those people. This is not going to make it any easier. So just an FYI about that. So that is my latest update, and I will catch up with you real soon. Okay, bye.